Welcome to the Dead Bedroom Revival Podcast. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. And one of the questions that I got recently, or at least one question that I asked somebody recently, and I was surprised with the answer, was I was speaking to a gentleman. He's in a dead bedroom, and I asked him, from rating of 1 to 10, how good are you in bed? And he said he was 10, and he justified it by saying, when it's time to have sex, we kiss, I go with the foreplay, she orgasms, I orgasm, and therefore it must be amazing. I said, well, if it was amazing for her, then definitely should be wanting to be coming back over and over again. And it took him off guard. But I think there is something to it, that as guys, we do not have mechanisms to actually collect feedback from the woman, and therefore when we don't have the right feedback, we assume everything is okay. So usually you would have said to her something along the lines of, how was it? And then she will respond with, it was okay. And because we just don't want to look any further than that, we just think, oh yeah, because she says it's okay, that means it must be great. But if it was absolutely great, then you wouldn't be in a situation where you're in a sexless relationship. And it's a painful realization to come across, because really, if you looked beyond the orgasm, which most people do, they think the orgasm is the final thing. As long as you orgasm, then that is a justification of it being amazing. But really, the amazing part is having something beyond the orgasm, which is the connection and the intimacy, which is, and basically what intimacy is that you can then be either vulnerable or truthful or many other things. And what I mean by this is that there's probably certain things that you want to explore in terms of your relationship, but because you fit in this square, and you try and maintain this sort of image to her, in order for you to feel like, for her to feel comfortable, and in order for her to feel more attracted to you. Because there's this exterior, you don't fully connect. Whereas if you sort of pull down all those exteriors, and then let's say, for instance, you wanted her to put a strap-on and ride you, and that was your thing, that's the most authentic you can be, and it would be a massive way of connecting. And this is just me, big city, but you know what I'm saying, that there is certain things that she wants to do, but she feels like she can be judged. She doesn't want to be judged. She doesn't want to be called a slut. She doesn't want you to look at her different. So maybe she can't mention to you, maybe she wants a threesome with another guy, and most guys will be like, I don't want to do that, but that's probably something that she's fantasized about. And I'm not saying that you have to let her do, but I'm just putting this out there so you can realize that there's certain things that you haven't stopped to think about or talk about that really opens you up as a couple, and that allows you to experience sex or explore sex in an amazing way. And when you can explore in that amazing way, in a way that sometimes makes you feel uncomfortable, sometimes stretches your imagination, sometimes stretches your comfort zone, and those are the things that, when you start experiencing that, that's when you start really connecting, because you're operating on your true self. And this is another important piece, that when she orgasms and you orgasm, sometimes the other piece that is important is that most people are not present when that's happening. So even though they're doing it, they're there, the body is there, but the mind is somewhere else, whether it's, you're just not present. She doesn't feel you present. And it's very common amongst guys, and even women do that sometimes, where they just if you've ever had PT sex before, she's probably just turned around and then she's just gone into her head, probably thinking about the shopping while you're pale driving away, and it's one of those things that it happens amongst couples. And when you stop and start looking beyond the orgasm, this is where the power is, and this is where you judge yourself. So if you switch from judging yourself from the orgasm and start judging yourself on how much did we connect and how fulfilled do you both feel internally, like if both of your sex organs, for whatever magical reason, they disappeared, how would you connect without them? And that's where your mind has to get at. And this is very difficult. It's very very difficult to comprehend, and it's a very difficult thing to start thinking about. And most people will try and think about this and then instantly assume they cannot do it because they don't understand it. But I think it's one of those things that you have to start not in the bedroom. It's not something that you start in the bedroom, something that you start from outside the bedroom. So the way you communicate. So you've tried to communicate about the lack of sex, and usually that comes from a place of resentment and rejection and you feeling hurt. So therefore you transfer all this bad vibe, which makes and then cause an argument. Whereas that could have been a place of the first connection. So when you do talk about being the lack of sex, if you talked about it in a way that was collaborative, which means that you're talking about it as a means of connection rather than a means of orgasm for both of you, you are more likely to get far in that conversation, because then you're not talking about, because half of the time she actually just thinks you want to, the reason why you're talking about this, you want to fuck, she's not into it, and then there's this weird dynamic where it's you sort of trying to pressure her to sleep with you, and then if she did sleep with you, she's not quite there again. So it's not fulfilling. So even though you've pushed and pushed, when it happens, it's not even fulfilling, because it just feels a little bit shit, because it's just shit sex. So there's a lot I'm trying to unpack here, and I'm just going to start trying to wrap it up, but no pun intended, but I'm going to start trying to finish it up here. The main point here is, how do you judge whether you're good at sex? I think when you start thinking about judging your sex and you let go of the orgasm as the judge of your ability to have sex, but how you connect within the relationship during the seduction phase, through the time when the desire is now growing, and during the sex, and then after the sex. If you think of those different phases of that, there is multiple points where you can be connecting, and when you judge each point with the connection, or at least the quality of the connection, that's where the power is. And that's where you create that Disney experience, because that's when she's going to think, holy shit, this is amazing. I want that. Is the way we connect in our relationship. And then you get that frequency. So the frequency of that sex, it just becomes higher and higher, because she finds it meaningful, she finds it fulfilling, and you find it fulfilling as well, because like I've mentioned many times, sex isn't the problem within the sexless relationship. The problem is your lack of intimacy, your need for intimacy, your need for that emotional nourishment. Those are the things that is missing, and that's the reason why we fixate on getting sex and so on. So hopefully that has been helpful. If you want to learn more of this and go even deeper, go to www.deadbedroomrevival.com, and we'll be able to help you. You'll get a Facebook group link, and it will take you where we'll be able to give you more training over there and give you support, so you can have the tools to empower your relationship, so you can have an amazing relationship. My name is Corey, your host, and I'll be speaking to you soon. Take care.